with liberty and justice for all.
Did Eric turn the phone on?
There, it's on here. We got it.
How do you work this thing?
Just like any phone.
Is there a hook set? Is it in there?
You're starting to act like my dad. Just keep hitting it really fast and it'll work.
I don't know, it's not working.
It's not plugged in, maybe.
That's just powered on.
Is he here? He does something down here, and I don't know
I don't know if it's plugs and unplugs or
There's
something.
There's this.
That's
That's
for
yours?
this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another one here. No, he just does something right.
I think it's this
It is-
cord here.
It is plugged in. There's a yellow
Can you
cord.
unplug it and plug it back in?
Speaker. What speaker?
But usually you push
It
the
goes
button.
to right here. The one that goes to the phone, and it's plugged in into this thing. It should work. Unless, I don't see any switches or anything on it. Right
It's
here.
not working.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is there something you switch underneath here? Is that-
Oh, this.
Like, I'm just gonna unplug it.
This one here?
That one. Apparently something wrong.
You see what he did? Yeah.
The other end.
It was the one I was looking at.
The other end of that cord, yeah, just unplug it. It'll reboot.
I got a machine that tests those cords. If you want to check it.
It's not the cord, I think it's the phone.
Okay.
Did you start the YouTube or not yet?
Yeah, I did. But we need to have the phone
Yeah, I
because the
know.
first thing Kelsey wants to talk, so.
I can't, it's not popping up. No, that's okay. Whatever, distance. Yeah.
Don't we still have to call in though, after it reboots?
Yeah, yep, it'll
Oh,
play
it'll
that
beep?
big Avaya.
Alright.
Do-do-do-do. Yeah, it's still going.
Talk amongst yourselves. What's that from? Saturday Night Live.
I'm there. Talk amongst yourselves.
Church lady, isn't it?
Is it the church lady?
Or the nun?
Yeah, is it,
Maybe the good advice giver? Talk amongst yourselves.
No, every Saturday night at 9 o'clock they run reruns. So they got something from 1977 the other night. I'm like, yeah, it's not as funny as it used to be.
No, it isn't.
But Chevy Chase wasn't on there, so.
It'll be just a few minutes. We're working on it.
Like 2 or less. I did talk to WCTA about the conference line the other day, and they said they actually changed it so it's not long distance anymore because there were so many people calling it that they were having problems. So they just made it local. So. 5916913. So that must be like the
Please
only.
enter your participant or moderator code, followed by the pound key. Please say your name, followed by the pound key.
Motion to approve the minutes on the agenda.
I have a correction to the.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry.
I'm not listed absent or present.
I already fixed it.
You fixed it?
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll take a motion.
Got one.
I'll second it.
Motion from Stender and second from Derby to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Discussion with possible action regarding COVID-19 policies.
Kelsey was gonna try again.
She's trying to call in. Kelsey, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, there she
I
is.
am, yep.
So,
This is Julie. I thought I'd give you a quick update while we're on this part of the COVID. Over the weekend, Winnebago County did have an additional positive case. So, and that person is currently recovering at home and is in the age range of 18 to 40.
Anybody else?
do you want to
This
discuss?
is,
Go ahead.
yeah, this is Kelly Lilly. Rick is my husband. He works for the conservation. And my question is, I just logged in, so I didn't hear any preface to this, but will the travel restrictions be lifted at some time for the county employees or what?
I think we're actually gonna talk about that in just a second. Kelsey, do you
Okay.
have a recommendation for that?
There is no legal recommendation. It's up to the board whether they want to lift those or not. I know there's been some discussion about possibly only restricting travel to possibly those 22 counties in Iowa that are still under those harsher regulations, and or to include the state of Minnesota. It's really a decision up to the Board of Supervisors. That can be changed however the board sees fit. Or it can be left in place for now. Okay, this is Kelly back again. My question is, we have a camper out in South Dakota where we can actually self-isolate very well, and we're not able to go there yet, so we're just kind of looking to when we can maybe actually plan a vacation.
Hancock County lifted the travel restriction yesterday.
Yeah.
They struck it from their policy.
So I don't know if everybody online heard it, but Andy Buffington mentioned that it was lifted in Hancock County yesterday. I guess I was gonna question this today, whether this is something in our best interest. I would hope by now, everybody knows what's in their best interest as far as taking care of themselves and their family. I had to go to North Minneapolis last week to pick up something for the county, and I drove right up there, backed in a garage, never got out of my truck outside just because it scares me to be in those big cities. And I only had to be in, the same hallway as one person that was 10 feet away on a forklift. But never stopped anywhere else in Minnesota, but that was my choice. I just didn't feel like I was comfortable even stopping for a restroom break all morning. But I would think that, in my opinion, we should be able to lift it. I don't know what you guys think.
Absolutely.
Everybody should have their best discretion when it comes to things like that. And life has to go on at some point here.
Then I guess my question is, I don't know if all department heads have their employees back in, but if we were lifting travel restrictions, I think that if they're not back to work, everybody should be back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Carla. I think if we're still allowing people to be at home and get paid to not work, then it might be better to have some of those restrictions still in place. But if everybody's back in the office or at least working from home, I think that kind of changes things.
You understand?
Yeah, I mean, just if we're gonna have travel restrictions, or if we're gonna lift travel restrictions, people should be at work.
And just for, again, Winnebago County and Hancock County are not the same, but just to give you gentlemen an idea of what they did yesterday as a board. They lifted travel restrictions. Everyone reported back for work today. The courthouse is reopening to the public a week from today. And
Why are they open a week?
I don't know. Yeah, that was just the motion made by Mr. Talak. So then, and then they're also One of the things we found out today is the treasurer's office has a concern that they're going to be extremely busy, which I believe a lot of people are going to be busy. During this proclamation by the governor, they can limit who they offer service to. Before, the 2080 agreement was saying that you had to just, if somebody came from Dubuque County for their driver's license, you had to provide service to them. During this proclamation, that's not the case. They can say Winnebago County residents only for both motor vehicle and driver's license.
Muted.
Somebody is on hold.
Will you call Eric
Unmuted.
and have him?
So there, stop. It's not.
If you have the moderator code,
Yeah, it's right there.
yeah, the moderator and participant code, if you log into that, you can.
He has it on his computer. Goof does, so we need to get she's gonna get a hold of
Sounds
him.
like it's
You can't even get on the line is busy, so I couldn't get dialed in. You care if I sit in?
Yeah, please.
Oh, the line was busy for you?
Yeah, I can't get in.
I wonder why it would be.
Some are getting in, though.
Can it only handle so many calls?
He's on his way.
I was
Okay.
in right away this morning, but then when I rebooted, I can't get back in.
Okay, so,
I only
go ahead.
have one concern is, if perchance it hits us, then
Then we can always
Go back.
change things
we
back.
can go back, but we're screwed for 14 days if an office gets it. That office is down.
Yeah, the DOT is really pushing us to have very minimal foot traffic through our office. And with the customers that we receive, we're gonna be overloaded. So I need time to at least get it advertised that we're doing appointments only and serving the essential drivers and most at risk is what we're gonna start off with.
So what are you saying then as far as?
Well, I think we need to be closed for a little bit longer so we can get everything in place. And,
Are you in favor of bringing all your gals back?
yes,
That one, you are.
yeah.
What would happen if 2 of you got it? But if that's the case, then the other 2 are quarantined for 14 days.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Well, I don't think we'd be able to work with a minimal staff either, once we open the doors.
You have certain distance between each other, so if
We
you
do.
can be conscientious of that and try to avoid being next to each other all the time.
And that's the only negative I can see is it's possible it could be shut down completely.
Well, and that's why, in our office, we are doing by appointments and working with Winnebago County residents only to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Whatever you're comfortable with, I mean, that's, yeah.
I think the reality too that we discussed in Garner yesterday is that this virus is probably going to be around for a while. So it's going to become that reality of, and so one of the things that we encouraged, that I think that's probably why they decided a week from today, so the department heads can make sure that they have everything in place to, obviously social distancing still needs to occur. You can see that with voting, Carla has 6-foot increments. That's one of the things we recommended. At service counters, especially in Winnebago County's case, pretty much one person in the office at a time. Now you have a little bit different scenario in the treasurer's office. So just to make sure that you can designate decent spacing, and then each time somebody would come up to get some sort of service, there would need to be some disinfecting, making sure we're washing our hands, not touching our faces, things like that. So that's just a recommendation moving forward, because I think we're going to be dealing with COVID-19 for a significant amount of time, in my opinion.
Julie, right now in your office, you handle all your licensing and plates and all of that over on one side and your tax stuff on the other side?
No, the office does everything on both sides.
But I mean the windows wise.
Yep, the windows is the same.
Okay.
If somebody needs motor vehicle, they can come on the tax side and,
All right.
yep.
So
we
you can
service
spread it
either
out
place.
that way.
Yep, and we were going to mark on the floor as well, our 6 feet distance, and by appointment only for that as well. We're gonna encourage people to still do everything online and through the mail as much as possible.
there's a good percentage you can do online, right?
Yep, and the DOT now has brought in online services more so people can just go out there and renew, the young people can get their services needed.
You can renew your license online,
Yeah,
CDL too?
CDLs, no, so those are our essential drivers.
What about for the new updated driver's license?
That's not required till October of 2021, so,
Oh,
If you-
another year.
yep. So if you're wanting that, we're pushing people out and saying, no, not at this time.
Guys, this is Julie at Public Health. Allison and I were just talking, we're still under a PPE shortage over here, well, the state, and we have to limit our visits, so some of our people are done at noon. Do you just want them to sit here then, in our office, or what? I mean, that's the other thing you have to look at, because our office is a little different.
Kelsey, are you still on?
I am, yep. Are you saying, Julie, that normally right now you're just sending them home and they're just getting paid under that kind of work rotation policy, or?
Yes, because if we need them, then they're like on call and they go home and they sit and wait, and when 4:30 comes, then it's their day. Yep.
Well, I think.
And I also have one that still is working from home because she has an autoimmune system.
Okay, so I think that's really going to be up to the Board of Supervisors. You guys are going to have to decide whether to allow, keep allowing that to happen, and whether it's going to be with specific departments or, you know, all departments. Currently, it's at department head's discretion. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer there. It's just whatever you guys think is appropriate. I imagine every office has, you know, some exception they could make, so, but we still have to have some sort of blanket policy.
What happens when they, you know, they have their own board? How do we deal with that?
They still.
That's a good question. I don't know that what their board has done, if anything. I guess I'm not sure. I haven't been involved in any of that.
Like with some of these other boards, each board has accepted that they would follow the policies. I imagine it could be up to that board to decide that for now, if it's in their best interest, they can do something different with it.
We had a blanket, we had a blanket policy that we followed, the recommendations from the state and CDC on the COVID-19 policies that are coming down for us.
That's the policy from your board, Julie?
Yes, they approved that, I think it was last month or the month before.
Okay. So I imagine, yes, I think that was Terry that said, I believe that's probably correct, that if the Board of Public Health wanted to make some sort of different change, that they could certainly do that, through whatever action they normally would.
Well, it's like I said, I think it was last week. Shouldn't we leave as much as we can up to each individual office? Kelsey?
That's totally up to you guys. That's not really a legal question. You certainly can do that,
Can do that.
or you can.
I didn't know if we could
that's
do it or
what-
not, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. You know, it might cause a little bit of tension, just simply because each department is handling something different. So some employees are getting a quote-unquote benefit when other employees are not. So that's just something to consider, but you can do that. As far as the rotation of employees, etc., I think if you're going to allow departments to continue to rotate employees, it might be time now where you consider that if they're not working and they're just at home, you know, we talked about before, giving them 2/3 pay as opposed to full pay. They can use their benefits to make up for that 1/3 pay. That'd be something to consider if you are going to continue to allow the rotation of employees.
Well, it's probably
I
some,
guess what
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, frankly, what I'm hearing is that most departments are bringing their employees back anyway. So I don't know if there's, other than maybe public health, I don't know what departments are still wanting to keep people home.
I would be in favor of leaving public health to the public health board to make that decision. You can do it, Mike.
And they are certainly unique since they, are going into people's homes and everything. So that's certainly justifiable.
Is that fine with you, Julie?
That would be fine. I'll put it on the agenda for the 15th.
Well, what I'm hearing is open it up and get back to,
Well, I think we need some time to get ready to get opened up.
Are you thinking is a week enough?
Well, by the time you get it in the paper and on Channel 2, it's not really gonna give us enough time.
Well, we can leave it up to the department heads, I suppose, when they want to open theirs up.
Then you're gonna have 3 or 4 different times people are opening. I think
How
we
are
should-
you-
Technically, I'm open now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so,
This is Chris. I would like it if we all kind of did the same thing. It's kind of hard when one department's open, one isn't.
Mhm.
I have to be open. I have no
Yeah.
choice, so,
Everybody's got their own, special cases, and yours, you're doing some by appointment now or not?
No,
Not at
we
all.
haven't even started, so we have to give the public that information, so when we are open to the resume work, we are ready to go with our appointments,
But they still have to call for an appointment.
you know?
And then when
guys,
people come, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Julie?
I was just going to say, I would like to clarify, I think when you're talking about the specific issue of opening the courthouse, that's a little harder to leave to each department head. Just simply for the fact that if one department is open, and I know Carla has to be, I'm not saying that, but if one department is open, we're still having the exposure with people coming into the courthouse anyway. You're also going to get people that are confused and don't know, okay, treasurer's open, but recorder isn't, etc. I guess I would personally prefer to see a uniform policy on the courthouse opening. I think leaving it to the department heads on rotating employees, things like that, working from home would be fine, but with respect to opening the courthouse, I really think that's a decision that comes from you guys. That would apply to everybody.
This is Chris, and I heard from Worth County yesterday that they are kind of doing a soft opening then starting next week. For 2 weeks, they're not really announcing it, but it's open, and then that'll give them time to prepare before they have such a huge rush of people.
That's it out.
This is Scott. Can I weigh in?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think that we've been able to provide almost, the same, if not the exact same level of service in our department. We've been handling permits online like we almost always do. We get a few people that stop in about that. So I guess I would prefer to keep our doors closed as long as possible, because I think we can safely do that while providing a good level of service. So I guess that's my 2 cents on it.
And I agree with Scott. We're providing the best service we can by phone, online, mailing, and people have adjusted to that pretty well. Once the door is open, if we don't keep it by appointment, we're gonna be so much traffic coming through here, we won't be able to control it.
Carla, can you do your voting thing by appointment only? You can?
No, the people are, that's a right.
Federal
So
election law.
you gotta let people vote
Whenever.
whenever they want to.
Have you had a lot of traffic in?
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
This is Julie again at Public Health. This is supposed to be Iowa's peak week, what they call. So I kind of like Chris Colby's idea of slowly doing a soft opening and see what happens in the next 14 days. That's just our opinion over here. Allison and I were talking.
So, okay, so the auditor's office is gonna allow voting as they can get here. But you have very little other business that people come in this time of year, or I suppose some drainage?
Well, we have some drainage. We have,
Should that be by appointment only?
really, we haven't had too many people come in. Most people call about that anyway. So I'm not real concerned
So
about.
you could do the appointment only, just as a blanket policy thing.
Mhm.
And Chris, can you do by appointment only?
We've been trying to, yes. My concern right now is if, when Julie opens, we'll get a lot of requests for vital records. People will want that real ID. I know they have extra time, but they're still going to want to do it. And plus passports, which I doubt will be very busy right away because people aren't traveling a whole lot yet. But yeah, we're doing as much as we can by appointment.
Hey, this is Allison. I just wanted to say something. When we do get ready to open, we need to make it very clear to all our staff that they cannot come to work sick with a cough, a sinus congestion. They need to be very aware of, is this allergies, is this a new cough? I mean, I just want to make sure people understand that. And, because then if they come to work sick, like you said, we're going to expose the whole office if they would happen to be a positive. And then also, if you run some type of an ad that we're opening, that people in our community should know this by now, not to come in if they are ill.
So it should probably be part of our policy that you are not allowed in this courthouse as an employee or as a,
I believe that's already in the existing policy,
okay,
that if an employee is symptomatic, that they stay home.
but I'm talking about the people coming in to do business, that they can't come into the courthouse if they're showing symptoms.
You can ask them. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those, if I have a cough, I can stifle a cough for 5 minutes.
What's your rules on somebody coming in coughing and looking like they've got the symptoms?
Well, that's why I've got that glass thing in front of my counter right now.
And then after they've been here, then the hazmat suits come out and you decontaminate.
As Mike Galloway said, there's no way we're gonna cover every base. And so, it's just, I think we've heard enough to open it up, give you some time to get acclimated back.
Yeah, I think some counties were looking at after the election, after June 2nd even. Just to give them time to get everything in place and give us more time to get through the peak of the COVID.
Can we do?
I heard a bunch on the 18th as well.
Yeah.
That's what, 2 weeks is the 19th, I think. And even if we start just opening the doors and don't advertise we're open, but I think that, we've got to do it at some point.
Mhm.
And people are skittish to go out too.
Yes, they are.
I mean, restaurants aren't gonna be as busy as they think it's gonna be.
This situation's not gonna change. We're gonna need just exactly what Allison said. We need to have some of those safeguards in place. We need to make sure we're doing good hygiene. We need to do, but that's gonna be the norm, I believe, for months and months and months, if not years, until we learn more about this virus.
Well, if we're not doing good hygiene by now, no policy is gonna force the guys that they're idiots, so.
You're absolutely right.
So can we give the latitude to each department how they wanna manage their department as far as
Who voiced their opinion against that?
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
that you can't let the departments?
You can, but I didn't.
I think we need to pick a date
Yeah.
that we're gonna open.
I think you can, Terry, with respect to opening the courthouse. I guess I see some flaws in that. I would prefer to see kind of a blanket plan on opening the courthouse so we're all on the same page. That's just my opinion, though.
So bringing the employees back all the time, is that gonna be in a separate deadline, or is it gonna be in line with the opening of the courthouse, or?
It could be either way. It's up to you guys.
Are you back?
So we
Are
currently
your
have the
employees
two
back?
separate policies right now. We have the comprehensive leave policy that's more with respect to the federal legislation. Somebody was right earlier when they said there already is a provision in there about not reporting to work if you have certain symptoms. And I believe those people don't have to use their sick leave to stay home as an incentive to keep those people home. Then we have the separate policy about rotating employees and working from home. And, so they can be amended or changed any way you want. So other than the federal legislation guidelines, of course, but.
You know, we lifted the travel restriction yesterday. The board made a motion to do that. They also got rid of the rotating shifts, or I should say they amended the policy to bring all employees back today in Garner. They did that. They left pretty much everything else in place. I think they removed, like even the meetings, they encouraged people to continue to have virtual meetings rather than in person as much as possible, to limit that contact. You know, there were folks that did voice concerns about waiting longer to open. Some of the counterpoint to that was, we've waited so long to open, we're gonna be really busy. Waiting longer isn't gonna make you less busy, but at the same time, to do some of those safeguards of doing appointments and things like that, you're still gonna have walk-ins, and I think we all know that. But again, ultimately, you know, the board can decide if and when you want to pick a date and say, we'll open this, whether it's a soft opening or it's advertised. I will tell you that we are going to be very public about opening the courthouse in a week from today, you know, at 8 a.m. So.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting to get some of the protection glass up through the driver's license area. And that should be installed at the end of this week or beginning of next.
Are you going glass or plexiglass, or?
It's a glass. It'll be a permanent.
Pick a date. Do you do anything by appointment right now?
No, I mean, people can come
Any
in.
drainage or, not the federal stuff?
People call if they wanna do drainage, so.
Are you doing an appointment, Chris?
Yes, I mean, sometimes we will meet them at the back door if there's something that we can't do through the mail. We're getting a lot of requests for marriage licenses, and we can do most of that through the mail, but there's kind of time constraints sometimes.
And you guys could certainly do, appointments only for the next week, 2 weeks, however long you want. And then that part can work with Andy, or whomever to try to put in, safeguards in place for each department before, you actually open.
Well, let's put that in a policy. We'll open in 2 weeks with appointment to every office these next 2 weeks,
By appointment only?
by appointment only.
Except for voting.
Well, voting.
Come in whenever they want.
And I can work with Carla on signage and all that stuff, and trying to, if we need to, do tape spaces, at service counters where people should wait, things like that. I mean, just to make sure that we're putting the proper safeguards in place so that it's not just throw the doors open and, see what happens.
I know with public health, when you say every department, you might want to, for appointments only, we still can't do our foot clinics or immunizations right now because then we'd have to gown up, so you might want to put that as an exception. So, on that, I know my Board of Health is going to have that on a meeting, and you said, Kelsey, didn't you, that it would be up to my Board of Health?
Yeah, I believe it can be. And one thing we can do is just say that public health, of course, just needs to continue to follow the guidelines. You guys are following CDC and IDPH and everything, and that's certainly appropriate, so we can just put a line in there about that. And I don't know, guys, that we even need to do an official written policy just to open back up. I just want it to be clear because otherwise I'm going to get about 100 phone calls from department heads and employees. So I just want to make sure we're laying it out clearly what steps you're wanting to take, if you're lifting the travel restrictions or not, if you're allowing them to rotate employees or not, etc.
We'll highlight what we feel should be highlighted, but there again, it's like Mike says, we're not gonna cover everything. And somebody's gonna have a question, well, does this cover this? We don't want those questions. Use your good judgment. I think everybody's smart enough here to use their good judgment.
Yeah, I'm just saying be clear about what you're changing from the current policy.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So what we're looking at right now is lifting the travel restriction and opening back up by appointment only, on the 18th, on a Monday?
Sure.
Does that sound reasonable?
I thought we were gonna do that immediately.
Except what?
I thought we were gonna do that immediately, appointment only, and then 18th, we're gonna open it up.
Well, I won't be ready.
Yeah, she's not ready.
The driver's
2 weeks?
license. Well, the 18th, if you want to start appointments then, that'd be fine.
You won't be ready in 2 weeks to open
No.
up?
For appointment, she said.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought you said you only needed a week to get up to speed.
The driver's license will have the security in place either the end of this week or the beginning of next.
Yeah.
But we need to have time to get the people scheduled for their appointments when we do open on the 18th. Or if you
can
want
be
us to
taking
start,
appointments.
yeah, we can start taking appointments and be opened on the 18th, it's fine,
So you're looking at no business till the 18th?
yes. We will still do
That's 2 more
processing,
weeks.
we'll be processing through the mail.
But each department right now has, in special cases, has been dealing with customers,
Yeah.
whether it be out the back door or whatever. We can still continue that policy that we've been doing. Depending on, the urgency and.
So really, there is no change.
Maybe the travel restriction.
Travel restrictions, the only thing I can think of.
But we're
is
setting a deadline that we would like to have
We'll be opened on the 18th.
open the 18th, so people can plan on it.
Okay.
Your thoughts? You okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, there again, it goes back to what you think you can handle, so I'm in no position
And
to
we're-
make that decision.
And we're leaving the public health up to the public health board to make that decision.
And then you still need to address whether you're going to continue to allow rotation of employees or not. And or working from home.
Aside from some people's feelings getting hurt, I would think you'd want to split up your force, but I'm not gonna make that decision. I think that should come from you guys.
I would agree, it should be department heads that should make those decisions. What do you think, Bill?
Really wanna know?
Yeah.
because you've been really quiet. Makes me nervous.
I'm always quiet. We just gotta leave it up to everybody in the departments. I mean, it's, they know, you know, who has the issues or and what needs to happen in their departments, I guess. It's,
Is that an unfair burden on you guys, to put that on you?
My department's back, so
Yeah.
If we make a decision to just flatly open it up, and then they'll start pointing fingers and say we shouldn't have if somebody got sick, so, the only thing we can really do is be held captive to this whole thing, and let people do what they think is safe, I guess.
I said the same thing 3 weeks ago, I think it was. But it's almost like it's gonna be you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, so.
Yeah, no, there's
So I think we should come to a decision and live with it. Yeah, I would feel horrible if someone gets it and dies. Wow.
no, it could be me.
Yeah. But I think maybe we should try to lead to that, yeah, we need to be cognizant of what's going on, but not fearful.
Yes. Let the ones that aren't fearful work, and the ones that are fearful, they can stay home, I guess, if they, especially, I mean, and especially if you have underlying issues.
I don't think fear is a good word to judge.
Just to clarify that, if you're just fearful of coming to work, you have to take vacation or comp time under the policy. I just don't want anybody to misconstrue what you just said.
Yeah.
Maybe there's nothing right. We gotta know what's going on, but I mean, I use this as analogous to it. 102 people are gonna die on the highways today. We don't stop driving. You know?
I've got a little chart of deaths from all kinds of different sources, and COVID-19 is less than most of it, or less than all of them on that chart. And traffic deaths was one. So therefore, we should lower the speed limit to 20 miles an hour. Yeah, and you know, you could say that fear isn't the right word, but fear is the right word, because that's what's being construed in the media, is the fear of all of this.
Hey guys, this is Kelsey again. I'm sorry, I have to get off this call here pretty soon because I have to call into a court proceeding, but I think what I'm hearing is you're going to keep the rotation of employee and work from home policy in place, lift the travel restrictions, and tentatively plan to open on the 18th, but that's not confirmed yet. Is that correct?
By appointment only.
So you're planning to open the 18th by appointment only? Okay.
Except for the voting.
Right. And that can be changed, of course, at any time, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding kind of what direction you're going before I have to hop off here.
That's a fair assumption.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Let's just go with that then.
All right, well, that'll be my motion that we drop the travel restrictions, hoping that everybody is smart about it.
Don't go to New York.
Yeah, tentatively open up May 18th by appointment only, except for voting, which is at your will, I guess. And staffing is going to be left to the department heads as they see fit. Is there anything else we were addressing there? Okay, well, that's my motion then.
Second that.
Motion Derby and second from Stensrud to approve the motion as he stated. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, anything else on that? Scott, you there?
Yep.
Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
I don't have too much for updates since last week. You guys have anything?
I have nothing.
Well, obviously, Bill, you have somebody upset with the roads, but
Oh, I don't know if I want to discuss that on YouTube, but, I did have somebody to threaten me to knock me on my ass for, over a secondary road last week.
Well, a passionate road enthusiast, sounds like.
Yes, yes, it wasn't just that, there were a couple other issues too that he had.
I see. Is there anything we can look into, or
it was
in general?
more of a generality, wasn't it?
Oh, don't worry, I invited him to do it, and he didn't do it, so.
Okay.
But, I went out and looked at his, road past his place, and it's one of the better ones in the county, so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, if there's anything specific, sure let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. No, I did, 480th. There is a lot of, traffic up there from the turbines and stuff, and, it was, I got a couple of complaints, guys trying to go through there with their planners and stuff it was pretty rough.
Is it, the one, is it 2 miles east of Highway 9, or excuse me, of R20?
Yeah, it's out in there. It's, it might be 2 miles east and then a little further east than that yet. I was up there myself with my truck in one of the intersections. Hopefully they've improved it since then. They're digging out the gravel in the corners there. And the one intersection was in really bad shape. I can't remember, it was, 480th and, God, would it have been 40th or 50th? I forgot, I can't remember.
Yeah, well, it's part of 480th between 50th and 70th is on their haul route. As you go further west, it's not, but I've heard that they have been on those. So we've had them address at least 1 mile partly, and it's probably about time I take another loop up there, because they've been taking out radiuses and on driveways and intersections, and now's the time to kind of get some of those things right.
If somebody were to come flying along there in the middle of the night and hit that intersection there, that was really rough. If you were on the south side of the gravel road there on 480th, that intersection, I think it would almost have thrown a vehicle in the ditch. I mean, it was really rough. There was a big dip in there.
Yeah, well, that definitely shouldn't be left that way, so we'll make sure it gets addressed.
Backhoe was in the process of crawling away from there because he had to pull over to the side in the ditch to let me by, so.
Yeah, okay.
You know, whether he was gonna go back there and finish it up or not, I don't know. Maybe they've probably taken care of it by now. I would hope.
Yeah, you would hope, but we'll make sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a schedule for gravel roads? What's gonna get the improvement right away? I mean, is that in your queue, or?
You're talking about our normal maintenance, or?
Yes, yep.
Well, right now, I think our stockpiles are all full, and the guys are spot loading to kind of, get some of the worst spots touched up before we do our end-to-end resurfacing, and I think those maps will be in progress soon if they aren't already. Mark and all the crew will be putting together those maps, so I don't know which roads we'll do end-to-end resurfacing on, but right now, if people have specific spots that are, falling apart and tires are falling through the surface, then we can address those, on a case-by-case basis.
I mean, I haven't had any calls, but if we had something like that, we have something concrete to give them, say, this is gonna be taken care of,
Yeah, we don't have our county-wide end-to-end resurfacing maps put put together yet, so we don't know that. So at this point, the best case would be is if they called the office with their specific locations, we go take a look at it and see if we can't get some spot loads there if it needs it.
Oh, so you want us to pass them on to you?
Yeah, that sounds fine. If we can talk directly to the people, and sometimes we can talk through some of those issues, especially if it's a case where they think it's pretty bad, but, you know, it kind of falls in the middle maybe of some of the, how bad some of the other roads are, because most people don't drive any more than just a few miles to their house or, you know, their own neighborhood, so hard to know what the whole county looks like without driving 40, 50 miles.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't have anything.
All right, and then we'll.
Okay.
We'll move
Well,
on.
I did have one more thing, I forgot to mention, but I had emailed you guys a utility permit for Heartland Power, to put in overhead. I just emailed it to you just a few minutes ago, so don't think you missed it, but it'll be on next week's agenda, and I'd forgotten to put it on this week's agenda, but it's putting power to, you'd probably call it Shutter's Hog Building, or Summit Farms there in Newton 28. But I just wanted to see if you guys would allow them to kind of move ahead and then get the formal approval next week. Any interest in that?
You don't have any issues with it then?
No, it's pretty straightforward, just a few poles, about a half a mile. We've gone and looked at it and shouldn't be any issues.
I guess I don't have a problem with it.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Now you
Okay, that works.
Now you got us on tape.
Yeah, well, it works for now. I'll get you we'll approve the permit next week.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Can we
All right.
skip to drainage?
What?
Can we skip to drainage?
All right. Consider for approval, move to number 6, consider for approval notice of award to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile improvement project for $1,091,361.95.
He was the low bidder, as you remember, and very good contractor. And I talked to him as recently as yesterday, and he's hoping to start on the job, the digging of the ditch, in 2 to 3 weeks. We'll stay in touch with him.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the notice of award to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile improvement project.
I will second that.
motion from Derby and a second from Stensrud to approve the award to county, approve the BB Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile improvement project. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, consider for approval annexation reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102.
I've said that so many times, I got the numbers memorized. This is a grouping of the, all the annexations, starting with 18, then 29, 48, 84, 102. Just thought that would give you a feel for it. These came about as a result of the work on the reclassifications, and you'll see that you'll be setting a date for those also. But as part of our reclassification work, we verify the boundary of the district with computer software. And on nearly every district, we find some outlying parcels that have been dropped for whatever reason, whether it was just through time it was not transferred over into the district, or if for some reason it was a small area and they decided not to do it. But when we find these, we feel like we should take care of them as part of the procedure. So Again, this is a copy for each one of the districts. Chris has the reports, if you want any more details on it. There'll be, you'll be setting hearing dates on these also, so. If you want more detail, we can go into that, however you'd like to do it.
And I know Rick has said before in the past, when they would do a classification, sometimes they just went by fence line instead of the watershed lines, so this is correcting some of those too.
Good point. Yeah, it's a dead giveaway when it follows the curvy line and then it follows the property line straight for a long ways. Yeah,
That's your red flag.
yeah, absolutely, yes.
That looks like most of it is that it had gone property line instead of the watershed line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, were you wanting them to do motions for approving annexation reports and then separately setting the date for each of them?
Yes, because I have those after that.
Okay, that's
I
what
have the
I thought.
annexation now, the reclass later, and then set the public hearings for
Yep,
motion.
that's what I thought.
So we'll be accepting the annexation reports as a group.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have any questions on this.
No, it's rather straightforward.
I'll make a motion to approve the annexation reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102.
I'll second the motion.
Motion Stenser, and a second from Derby to approve the annexation reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, number 8, consider for approval reclassification reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102.
I have a lot of paper for that. I don't know if you want to deal with that or not. It's, it just shows where each of them are in the county, basically, which you can do, and maybe know already.
So you're just reapportioning with the additional lands into it then?
Yes, yep.
Are you redoing the classification as far as, you know, through engineering, current engineering standards then?
Yes,
So-
yeah. We've reworked each of the classifications to do reclassifications. Yeah, some of them had debt, some of them have projects coming, yeah.
And I know that Scott had a question on the classification before for the DD3 because it was so high. So the only one of these that has a city in it is DD 18, and Rick did take that into account. And, you know, going forward, that will be taken into account when there is a city, secondary roads wouldn't be as much.
Good
So
point.
the other 4 don't have a city in it, so they are equitable there.
It's just the point system we were using ended up with secondary roads being probably higher than they should have been whenever there's also a town involved. So Scott had a good point, and Chris explained it real well there, I think.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the reclassification reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102.
Second.
Motion Derby, and second from Stenser to approve the reclassification reports for DD 18, 29, 48, 84, and 102. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, so 9, set public hearing for annexation and reclassification report for DD 18.
Carla, I was gonna ask you too, do we need to set the annexation time and the reclassification time separately?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, so I would like June 16th as the date. That would give landowners, if they had any changes that needed to be made, we could still do it by the end of June 30.
What time?
Start at
all the times are open, so I don't know when you want to start.
9:30. Then we can do some business before this and,
And that's fine.
okay, the first one at 9:30.
So the annexation at 9:30.
And then just in succession after that, or?
Yeah,
we
well,
need
we'll
to
set
have-
each one after that then.
We have a
Right.
specific time for each one after that, or?
Carla and Rick, do you feel we should do 10 minutes, 5 minutes,
I'd say 5.
5?
I think, these are cases where there aren't a lot of dollars involved, so that will make the number of people here less. The whole virus situation will make people less, yeah.
And they'll still be able to call in or?
Yep.
Do we get to keep that number, Carla, for a while?
We've always had it.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
So what I've got is June 16th, the first one at 9:30, 9:35, 9:40, 9:45, clear up until 10:15 for DD 102.
For time constraints, can't we put the motion as, I'll make a motion to approve the annexation public hearing for DD 18 through 102, starting at 9:30, whatever.
I need to put it specific in the letters for the landowners.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they need to know what time to come if they had a question.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand here, you're gonna have a separate time for the annexation and the reclassification?
Yes, so the first one for number 9, the annexation will be 9:30, the reclass 9:35.
9:35.
So we need a motion on
Oh,
that.
okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, set public hearing for annexation and reclassification, annexation at 9:30 on June 16th and at 9:35 for reclassification up for DD 18.
Second.
Motion from Derby and second from Stensrud to set the public hearing for annexation of DD 18 at 9:30 and reclassification at 9:35. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So then we would carry on to 9:40 and 9:45?
Item number 10.
Go ahead.
I'll make the same motion for DD 29 at 9:40 and 9:45.
And I'll make a motion, go ahead.
You second it?
We got, I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion from Stensrud and a second from Derby to set the public hearing and for DD 29 for annexation at 9:40, reclassification at 9:45. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And I'll make a motion for set public hearing for annexation, June 16th, 9:50, and reclassification, 9:55 for DD 48.
I'll second.
A motion from Derby, a second from Stensrud to set the public hearing for DD 48 for annexation at 9:50, reclassification at 9:55. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same motion for annexation and reclass for DD 84 at 10 o'clock and 10:05.
I'll second it.
Motion from Stensrud, a second from Derby, set public hearing for DD 84, annexation at 10, reclassification at 10:05. All in favor, say aye.
Same motion for annexation and reclassification at 10:10 and 10:15 for DD 102.
Motion from Derby,
Second.
a second from Stensrud to approve, to set the public hearing for DD 102, annexation at 10:10, reclassification at 10:15. All in favor, say aye.
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 It was very efficient.
Chris,
Yeah, Chris had a good idea the other day, we talking about allowing how much time for each of these. In the past, there's been times when you allowed plenty of time and then you just stuck waiting for the next one. So I think you made a good move in looking at this 5 minutes.
And then if some have to be pushed back because a landowner comes in, then
Yeah.
because there's always that one that'll be, well, we titled it into
Right.
another district.
right. And I'm hoping with the letters that go out that if they have any questions, I want to make them more specific to call Rick or I'm gonna have all the drawings and the reports on our website. So they have plenty of opportunities to look at it beforehand.
So this information you're posting on our website so they can access it there then? Okay.
if it works. I got a little USB port from them, so I'll get that put up, hopefully that'll work. I didn't have anything else for drainage.
Okay,
I did mention that they hoping to start on the ditch in the next 2 to 3 weeks if things go together right. Right now they're looking at a split crew possibly. The one man will start with the excavator on the ditch, and then the rest of his crew would be starting on DD 11 or DD 18 lat 11. That's the one with the borings under the railroad and under your paved road. He's wanting to get the borings in before he starts his pipe work, just to be sure everything's working out fine. There will be arrangements he has to make with the railroad, and we'll have to be there checking the rail height every couple hours while they're doing the boring. So that should go, once the borings are in, that should go really quickly.
And you're working with the county engineer on
Yep.
the road crossing?
Yes, and we've made the contractor aware twice. We're looking at a shorter boring, shorter casing under the paved road. No need to go right away on the road itself. So I talked to Scott as recently as yesterday again about that. He's leaving it up to us and the contractor to see how short we can safely make it. I'm guessing 60 to 70 feet instead of 100. It'll help the cost. He'll still have the same mobilization, but not near as much materials on that boring. So it should save some money overall. We are planning, we had hoped to get the lower end of DD 11 ditch where we took the trees off. We haven't been able to get the topography yet. They're hoping now as soon as tomorrow to get out there, depending on the weather. So we haven't given up on that. It may take us a couple days to get all of it, but.
And you're gonna go all the way up to the outlet of TD 10?
Yes, yep. So we'll have all that information.
Did Tom Thompson talk to you about that? He was gonna file a repair on DD 11,
11 or 10?
benefiting DD 10.
Nope, I haven't heard from him.
I told him that the trustees don't have control of DD 11 we annexed in up to their outlet.
Right,
So
DD 10 is,
he can file a repair request on DD
right,
11.
DD 10 is strictly a tile system. The open ditch that was annexed in is part of the DD 11 lower
That's it.
system.
I
Yep,
told him.
yep.
So he was gonna get a hold of you to maybe file can you give me a sheet? Maybe I can just get it to him can you fill one out for him or?
Well, no, I want him to call me. I don't just fill them out.
Alright.
So,
That was his intent.
okay. Yeah, and I have my phone on me even when I've been at home and talked to landowners, and he hasn't called.
No, he's been busy farming too, so.
Well, right,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So,
Setting records on some of them.
Yeah.
It's been quickly.
so is that it for drainage?
did you do that? I think we're,
That's all I had.
we got
Okay.
one.
Oh, I did have one question for you. On DD 11, when they start digging the ditch, are they gonna try and, at least in that portion next to the wetlands, are they gonna try and throw it all to the south?
It's been a lot of 16-hour.
Whatever they can. I guess we didn't necessarily make that a
If
stipulation.
we talked about, if it overflows, it'd be better to overflow to the
Yeah,
north.
that's the area to try and leave that berm down
I
some.
don't know how that works engineering wise.
We can just work through it with the contractor. Shouldn't matter to him that much direction of that is their own. I'll make notes to remind myself to talk to him again.
Bill, I'm gonna smack your gavel at you. I can't hear, they're talking about drainage and I can't hear what's going on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't apologize, I.
Shut up.
So, and then we did get the final payment request for the DD 2168 project. So we'll have to set a final time for that too.
Yeah, they did a good job and were quick about it.
How about DD 1? Did we ever get all that touched up?
No, there's a couple spots yet, and on my notes, I was gonna talk to Chris about when to bring this up with you again, because we got quotes from Lakeside to to hydroseed the lower parts of those. And I think there's 2 other spots that need some major work yet, but
I noticed, just west of, Highway 69, they were out disking up, kinda cleaning it up the other day.
okay.
I don't know if they were gonna seed it or what they were gonna do at Matthews there.
Yeah, we'd like to see the lower parts of those slopes hydroseeded. From what we hear about Lakeside, they're a good outfit.
Yeah.
And they sure know their stuff. I've talked to them a couple of times as far as seed and fertilizer, what to use to get it to stay on the slope better and all of that. So what I can do is get you a summary of those costs, because there were 2 different mixes they were looking at. And just get it on the agenda to get approval to go
Has the
forward.
digging been done to clean them up? Any sloughs that happened after the fact?
They went back and got some of those. I'm not sure they got everything, but there's actually 2 areas we think they may have to haul in some dirt yet. The ditches tend to heal themselves somewhat, but there's still 2 spots that really need some material. We'll get that summarized too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah, Scott.
did you have the name of the boring contractor for?
No, I don't have it. I'll have to get it. Jeremy called me while I was sitting here. I'm sure he'll be available by phone. I'll see if he can give me that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. I don't know, I'm scared to talk now.
You're
We were wrong. That's my pet peeve too, and I don't know why we're doing it.
We were naughty.
I just can't, I don't
I
hear
know.
well enough to,
I couldn't agree with you more.
I can hear what everybody's saying, but if there's background noise, I have a hard time understanding.
Yes.
But, anyway, consider signing the Floyd County Staffing Contract Amendment for fiscal year 21, July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, child support recovery.
I'm assuming it's the same as it has been.
yeah, I think they're just keeping it at Floyd County because it's easier.
Make a motion to approve that contract.
I'll second it.
Motion Sedger, second from Derby.
Have some coffee.
Sorry.
Maybe I better have a sip. Well, no, maybe I should have been drinking decaf. To sign the Floyd County Staffing Contract Amendment for the fiscal year 21, July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, child support recovery. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And just for the record, Kelsey did look at it and she said it looked okay, so.
Does this need to be stamped then, or is there signature?
No, where I had it sideways, that's where your signature goes.
Where's, what do you mean by sideways?
Well, I had,
1, Julie, 2, 3.
well, that's annoying.
Scott Minders.
Right here. I had the top part on it sideways. I don't know if it must have got moved.
Oh,
But this is where you sign, right here.
and
Not that.
nothing on there. just
No.
this here. Winnebago. Either they're both, they're both the same, right? County Attorney Board of Supervisors.
You're the board.
All right, I just said again, yeah.
It's a fit.
Is it the 5th already?
It sure is.
All right.
Thank you.
Number 14, set date for hearing on 2020 internal TIF debt resolution.
Okay, June 2nd at 9:15, if that's all right.
motion to set the hearing for 2020 internal TIF debt resolution for June 2nd, 2020 at 9:15.
I'll second that.
Motion from Stender, second from Derby, to set the date for the hearing on 2020 internal TIF debt resolution for June 2nd at 9:15. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm assuming we got the rest of this,
I don't know where it is. There it is. No, no.
Yep. Julie just brought
this
it.
is just the back page of it.
No, that is a different day. I had to do a check run for a,
I did have a
Department.
question.
That
The
just
11,000
that's
secondary
the-
roads.
just the signature.
I don't do secondary roads.
Both, you got a
You'd have
second
to
both
ask
spots here?
Or Scott.
Yes, please.
It was being a little, like it was some kind of an insurance.
Then you have to be more specific.
I've never
Didn't
seen
raise a
that
flag with
before.
me, but
What,
I might have.
was it paid out of secondary roads?
Yeah,
Okay,
and it was, here it is. Yeah, here it is. It says 5-year support. Neoterra,
I don't pay Becky, so that would be a Scott question. He would have approved it.
Scott, you
If he's
there?
still on the phone.
You bet, yep.
There you go.
so there's a claim for 11,000 of some kind of a 5-year plan or something.
Did you say Neoterra?
Yeah,
Yeah, Neoterra is the software we use that, it has, basically tracks where the vehicles are through the radio system.
okay.
So we have an interface in the office so we can see where all those hooked up vehicles are, and it shows history in case we need to look up where they've been or anything like that, so.
All right,
Perfect.
never seen it before, so I thought I'd bring it up. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we've in the past had maybe 3-year contracts or so we only see it come up every few years.
Awesome. Okay, everything else good? Wonderful, thank you.
I have no questions.
You have signed. There's 2 of them. So where are we at, on open forum yet, or?
Yeah, we're just getting to open forum areas. Anything for open forum?
No, I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
I'll second it.
You guys are a comedy act today.
Must be the end of the meeting.
Did I get that right? Yeah, you seconded it, right? That's not-
No, he-
He made the motion.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think
Then-
Scott and a second from Derby to approve the 7-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Yeah, my defense. I've had not much to. Now, some of the guys that work at the co-op,
Sure wish,
biggest paychecks ever.
sure wish the chair would say
It's
something.
never happened where we've had that many days in a row where you had to go out. We had a day and a half off for, rain, and that was it.
You can call me.
What's that?
Is the meeting over?
Oh, yeah, no, I understand, adjourned.
Thank you.